Okay. All right, here we go. Thanks, Steph, so much. Thanks, you guys, for being here tonight. I am Paige Lee, and we have been meeting for the last 3 months, probably every Monday night. And since most of us are from Helping Parents Heal, I asked Elizabeth if I could rejoin as an affiliate leader with this group. And she was, of course, gracious and happy to have us do so. Because why not, right? Because it's information that we all need on our journeys. We're all here with the same purpose, which is how to navigate, these tumultuous waters, right? And how to navigate through the rocky terrain of our grief, which is not an easy ride. You all know that. I don't need to tell you that. So I'm going to, because we are now, again, I was an affiliate leader in Boise in 2000. I think 14, for about a year and a half. And those were in-person meetings, of course, back then. And then I just didn't do it anymore. And so I'm happy to be back. So I'm very familiar with the organization and with Elizabeth and those guys. So I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy that you all joined us here tonight. It means a lot to us. So I hope you get a lot from our presentation. I do need to read the mission statement for Helping Parents Heal, which you all know because you go to the meetings. So I'm going to read that now. Attendance today at the Helping Parents Heal support group meeting is voluntary, and we are here for the benefit of learning from and sharing with other parents whose child has passed away. It is understood that our discussions are intended to be confidential and not designed to replace traditional therapy or spiritual counseling. Helping Parents Heal is a nonprofit organization dedicated to assisting bereaved parents to become shining light parents by providing support and resources to aid in the healing process. We go a step beyond other groups by allowing the open discussion of spiritual experiences and afterlife evidence in a non-dogmatic way. Affiliate groups welcome everyone, regardless of religious or non-religious background, and allow for open dialogue. Helping Parents Heal offers a wide variety of speakers to allow parents to be informed about many possible ways to heal, to connect with their children, and to learn about the afterlife. The views expressed by our guests do not necessarily reflect those of Helping Parents Heal, and we ask that you take from their presentations whatever may benefit you personally. And of course, this group is also open to grandparents and siblings. And, I think that we probably even have a couple people whose spouses have transitioned. So with that, again, welcome. So early, I do want to introduce Stephanie now that we're officially more people in the room and recording. Stephanie Johnson is my fellow Sun Valley mom from 2010. If y'all have read my book, you know about the Sun Valley moms, and she's helping me with the chat room and any questions or issues that you guys are having. And I know some of these other people, Melissa, Jill, Angie, Rosie, you guys, Joe, you'll all, Danielle, step up and help too, okay? So as needed, we'll monitor. We're all here to answer your questions. So early in my journey, I became really interested in crystals. It really started in 2010 at that Sun Valley Mom retreat. I think you guys know what I'm talking about. I think most of you may have read my book. I was in a Reiki session, my first ever Reiki session. And in that session, I was somehow inside of a crystal. I can't explain it to you. I was inside of a clear quartz crystal in my imagination. And it was the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. And I think it was that experience that gave me the love for crystals and the desire to want to use them in my healing and in healing for others. I was a Reiki practitioner for a while. I've been certified or licensed, I guess, as a practitioner for about 10 years now. I don't practice one-on-one anymore. I just use Reiki in my, my group classes and my individual sessions with people. But the Reiki and the crystals go hand in hand. And so I did use the crystals when I was working with people on the table, and I would just lay crystals kind of on their body wherever I felt like they needed enhancement of the healing that was already taken place. So that's kind of how I got started in it. So what are crystals? Okay, first question. And I do want to tell you, I am going to run through my presentation. You can take notes if you want, but I'm going to upload this entire like document that I've created for you. I'm going to upload it into the file of the group. So if you're here because you saw this event, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. But if you would like a copy of the manuscript, you'll have to go to the actual group page if you haven't already and join that group. So it's the Helping Parents Heal Spiritual Tools for Grief Healing group. And I'm going to try to upload this video to that page. And then I will definitely, because I know there's a section for files, I will upload this document because it may have some information that you'd like to reference later. Okay, so that will be available to you. So crystals are minerals that are formed underground. And I always say crystals are of God, just like everything we do is of God, right? So with that in mind, crystals are used for good. There cannot be, crystals will never bring you harm. They will only bring you good, and they will bring you what you need in that moment. But you do have to use some discernment, and you have to use some intuition into what you need and or intention. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But crystals are formed underground from three-dimensional repeating patterns of atoms. Sometimes they grow really large. Sometimes they're very small. Sometimes humans will take one of the crystals and polish it. And so there's different forms of the crystal product that we can purchase in our society. We can buy it in its raw form. We can buy it in its polished form. We can get it cut. You know, think of like a star garnet that's been cut to enhance, you know, the star to appear. Or it can be in a wand form, and I'll show you what all of those look like. So sometimes they're kind of strange shapes. Sometimes they grow in clusters. Let me show you this smoky quartz, actually, that this was actually cut from obviously a larger raw cut, right, of smoky quartz. And they preserved the actual shape and you know, so this was not pieced together, right? This is what we would call a cluster in its kind of raw form, even though it's been cleaned up and polished a little bit. Can you guys see that very well?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I wish I could get better light on it. There you go. That's better, right? So that's kind of I have a lot of smoky quartz, but that's my prize. I was telling the group earlier that I was wearing smoky quartz today and it was too much for me. I had to take it off. Sometimes we can't wear the stones that we might want to wear. So sometimes it's too much for us in a particular day because these stones have so much energy. It's amazing, actually, how much energy they have. So what we're going to talk about tonight is how can you use them? Which ones are good for certain things? And, you know, where should you keep them? How do you clean them? Things like that. Okay. So I have an encyclopedia of crystals. This is the book that I've had from the very beginning. Stephanie coincidentally has this same book. So if you want to know about a crystal that I don't offhand know about, we'll just look it up for you. Okay. So this is a great book to have. It's Encyclopedia of Crystals by Judy Hall, because in the beginning of the book, there's an alphabetical index of each crystal name so that you can look it up by name, or in the back, there's an index of symptoms. So what are the crystals for grounding? What are the crystals for, you know, healing of the heart? What are the crystals for even physical pain, right? Physical ailments that crystals can help heal. So again, crystals are of God. Crystals enhance the healing that's already taking place. They're not magical little rocks that I touch it and I'm going to be healed. It doesn't work that way. But just like meditation is a tool, just like essential oils are a tool, just like prayer really is a tool, right? These are all things that enhance our healing, things that we can use if they resonate with us to help us expand our awareness, expand our consciousness so that we can connect to our spirit team and to our child, connect to God, my God, your higher power, whatever you call that person, that thing, that being, the creator. So just keep in mind that it's not a fix-all, but it is a tool, and it's a very powerful tool. I think were you guys here? Did I say this is a hematite crystal that I've been holding for about the last hour because I was so kind of heady when I got home. I've just been that way all day. And so I really needed to ground myself. The hematite is probably my favorite crystal for grounding. It's black, shiny, beautiful, beautiful crystal. Are we seeing that good enough, you guys?
Yep.
Steph, can we see that? Okay. Anyhow, so healing crystals are used to amplify and raise energy vibrations. So you can do that for you can do it for the space that you live in, you can do it for your home, for your bedroom, you can do it for your pets. A lot of people use crystals for healing with their pets. Crystals help us become aware of our own energy, and they help us become aware of the expansion of our own energy. And if you've heard me talk before, you know that I'm such a huge proponent of energy and of learning how to feel our energy, right? Because when we can feel our energy, then we can better understand the connection that's happening and be able to better kind of bring that in and embody that energy. Does that make sense? So the other thing is crystals can keep us kind of in the present moment. I like to carry it around and I'll touch it and hold it, whatever I'm working with that day, so that I can be reminded of whatever intention I placed into the stone that day. So if you're using the stones with intention, which we'll talk about, you put it in your pocket or your purse, and every time you touch it, you're reminded of that intention that you set for yourself. So there's a lot of power in that as well. So it's basically, I think in my book, I had it under the section of alternative healing. It's another form of alternative healing. It's another modality that's available to us. So why not check it out, right? Like find out what works for you, find out what resonates with you. So they are tools to help us reach deeper layers of ourself and tools to enhance the healing work that we're already doing. Okay. Does the size matter? Girls, what do we always say size matters, but in terms of crystals, no. I mean, it does. Bigger crystals are potentially going to have more power, but all crystals have healing power. They don't have to be large. I have, can you guys see my amethyst here? This is a big, beautiful geode amethyst that I have. It's the largest crystal I own. But it doesn't necessarily work for me better, than my little amethyst, right? I like to have it in my presence, but I probably use this one more. Steph, I'm losing my light. I'm going to have to figure out how to get more light. Oh, there we go. Is that better? I'm going to have to learn to use it more. So I like these natural raw cut crystals that you guys might find that you like them as well. I like the polished ones for how they feel in my hand, but I like the raw cut. They seem to hold a little more power for me. So size doesn't really matter, but if you have larger crystals, that's just that much more, right? That you can have available to you. Is it possible for crystals to conflict with one another? I say no. I say no because all crystals are going to work in perfect harmony with what your body needs. So crystals are intuitive that way, and the crystal wants to work with you. The crystal wants to provide you what you want it to give you, right? So it's very intuitive. They're very mindful, and they will not harm you in any way. So I don't think that you can conflict the energy with any two crystals. In other words, they're not going to oppose each other. Because all crystals bring good. There isn't a crystal that brings bad to my knowledge. I've never heard of one. I don't believe that there is one. So how to use your crystals. I'm going to try to get through this and not talk too fast so that I can leave lots of time for questions for you guys. So probably the best way to use your crystals is to program it with an intention. So I know that you all know, I'm going to set my hematite down. I know that you all know this stone. This is rose quartz. This is probably next to amethyst, maybe the most well-known stone probably in the universe. Rose quartz is universally known for healing of the heart. So when I was early in my grief in the first couple of years, I had little small little pieces of rose quartz, you know, just something like about that size. I don't know if Linda Colafellow's on the line. I sent her one, just something about that size.
Mhm.
And I just carried it with me all the time. And I'm telling you what, you guys, it helped. So it's just amazing how the energy is transmuted. The energy kind of comes from the crystal, comes into us, enters us and out, right? It's just this cycle of energy that is fabulous. But you want to take your crystal and program it with an intention. So you want to hold it. I would hold it close to your heart and close your eyes. And I would say out loud, I ask that the highest vibration of love and light connect with my highest self to clear all unwanted energy and any previous programming within the crystal, because you don't know where the crystal has been, right? So you want to clear the energy that was in it. And then I command this crystal to hold the intention of healing my heart, or whatever it is, whatever the crystal is, and whatever you're holding it, whatever you're doing with it. And then say, thank you, thank you, thank you, and then move on, right? So, and then you have set, hi, Kathy, then you have set the intention into the stone that it will give you what you want from it, okay? So that's one way, is to set your intention. And like I said before, when you set your intention, if you really are having some severe like anxiety or something like that, you're really going to want to carry that stone around with you. And then every time you touch it, you will be reminded that, you know, healing, I am healing, right? I am healing. I have my stone. My intention is to heal. My intention is to not be anxious. So I'm going to calm myself down, right? So it's a good reminder of that. My personal favorite way to use my crystals is to wear them. These are blue lace agate earrings that I have. I have this beautiful, I don't even know what this one is. It might just be colored glass. It's so pretty though. It's like, I wear it all the time. Like I said, I wore smoky quartz earlier. It doesn't have to be super expensive. Probably last year sometime I was at Home Goods, TJ Maxx, and they have some really amazing jewelry there, you guys. I had these clear quartz crystal, and not everybody can wear clear quartz because it's so powerful, but these like $20, and these clear quartz crystal earrings that were beautiful until I dropped them and broke them. But I do love wearing my crystals because they're with me all the time, and I can touch them all day long, and you know, they're just going to bring me whatever energy it is that I need for that day. Keeping them in your purse or pocket, we talked about that. That's probably the most common way that people use their crystals. Meditating with them, of course, and I have my favorite meditating stones. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but probably. Let's see, where am I? Labradorite is a good stone for meditating. This is such a beautiful stone. Let's see if I can. Whoops. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Look at the color in that. So when I get around to showing you some of the different crystals, I promise I'll get this good of a shot of them. But that's one of my favorite meditation crystals, this little piece of moldavite, which actually it's so tiny because they say it came from a meteor and landed in the Czech Republic area somewhere, like, you know, I don't know how many thousands of years ago, and just tiny, tiny little pieces of it were scattered all over the region. So they say this is a very powerful. Numite is one of my other favorite meditation crystals. Can you guys see the colors in that? And it's kind of got kind of a mottled, kind of a cloudy look to it. So I'll talk more about those individually later. Obviously, the most well-known crystal for meditation is amethyst crystal, which amethyst really is. It's that beautiful purple color. Like I said before, this is a piece of raw cut amethyst, and really is all about that connection, you know, the third mind crown connection to to your higher self, and to God. So so you can meditate with them. The thing to remember is you're not praying to the crystal, right? We're not, it's like we're not praying to them, but we're using them to enhance the meditation. We're using them to expand our state of being, right? And that can be very helpful, just like a guided meditation could be, to help us kind of get to that other place. Um, Another way you can use them is to create a crystal layout, like a grid. This is particularly used by people who are maybe more of a healer. You can Google, I don't use grids, but I did when I was doing Reiki, but I don't anymore. And there are certain kind of grids that can be helpful and beneficial for certain types of treatments. So if you're interested in that, you could look that up. Some people put their crystals in the bath, but they're not all friendly with water. So be sure if you're going to do that, that you look it up. I mean, obviously the more porous stones, you don't want to get in the water, but you can look that up and see. And if that's something that draws to you, you can do that. Another way that's very much commonly used with crystals is to cleanse the home. And you can do that. Well, a lot of people do that with sage. You can do that with crystals as well. You can just take them and put them in certain, like the four corners of your room, for example. I cleanse my space with Reiki. Sometimes I do it with crystals. I have done it with sage. A lot of people do that as well. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of cleanse your space. When I meditate, which I didn't do tonight because we're not kind of getting into that tonight, I always say only those of God's love and light may enter this space today. And I always, I always send Reiki to the four corners of the room, and I build a big, kind of white translucent bubble of protection around my space. So that's my process for protection. And then I say a little grounding prayer as well. But for cleansing your home, there's a lot of different stones that you can use to do that. You can take a geode like this and you can put it on the centerpiece of your coffee table. You can have a display of crystals, in your living room or in your bathroom. A lot of people use them for sleep. And so there are specific crystals that will help you sleep at night. And I made a list of them because I haven't been using them for sleep, but I'm going to. Let's see. Oh, maybe I didn't write it down. I'll let you know if I find that, or you can look it up. So I think a lot of us struggle with sleep these days. So Danielle, right? It wouldn't be a good idea to put some sleep crystals by our bedside as well. I know that many of you have an altar that is dedicated to your loved one who's, transitioned, and that would be the perfect place to set crystals, right? The perfect place. One of our friends here, Angie Kranz, her son was a lover of crystals. Is that right? Your son loved crystals. And there was one other person here whose son loved crystals. And so bring those crystals into your home if your loved one loved them, or whether they did or not, you can bring in different crystals to honor them and set it into that space. And then for deep, deep healing, you really can check into some ritualistic things that you can do with crystals, like malachite, for example. I have malachite somewhere, is a real stone for transformation. So if your wounds are very, very deep and you want to heal them, you can hold it over your heart for 11 minutes and just feel. And that's going to be intense, though. Is that malachite? Malachite is a very intense. Malachite, pneumite, moldavite, the blue one over here that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. Some of these stones are super, super intense. So you don't necessarily want to start with them, but work your way up to them. And like I said earlier, they're not going to hurt you, but it might kind of like, whoo, the energy might kind of just set you back for a second. So if that happens, you just set it down and pick up a gentler stone. Stones like rose quartz, stones like lepidolite, some of those softer, more gentle stones. So interesting fact, crystals you can tell a little bit about the healing energies, the healing properties of a crystal by the color of the crystal. And this book that we have not only has both of the indexes that I talked about, but it separates the crystals by color. So if you have a yellow crystal and you don't know what it is, you can go through the yellows and try to match it up. But it's almost, if you look at the chakra system, right, and you're looking at your red and your red and your orange stones, you can kind of gather a little bit of a glimmer of understanding into what the healing properties of the red and the orange stones might be. Okay, hence, not always though, for sure, but hence the amethyst being obviously the crown, right? So okay. So those are some things that you can do with your crystals. It's not just buying them and looking at them, although that's good too, right? What if that's all you ever do? I did that for a long time. And then I bought these little jewelry organizers. And so there's all these little segments in them, like little compartmentalized. And so now I keep them in there. And I used to sort them by chakra because I was a healer, right? I was doing healing work. And so I had them sorted by first chakra, second chakra, third chakra. And then I really got more into not so much that, but the healing properties of each one. With that said, there's so many crystals, you guys, there's so many. And there's really a lot of different attributes for each one, right? So I might tell you, rose quartz is good for healing the heart, or let me use bloodstone as an example. Bloodstone is a beautiful one of probably my very, very favorite stone. Look how gorgeous that is. And I have always bloodstone has always been a healing stone for me, but a lot of people say it's a grounding stone as well. And a lot of people say that bloodstone actually will bring money into your life. So it kind of depends on people's interpretation, or maybe somebody's focusing more in their kind of dialogue or their blog, they're focusing more on one attribute of the stone, whereas you're really drawn to the stone for a completely different healing attribute that it has, right? So you get to pick, you're in charge, you get to choose which stones you like, you get to choose the intention that you're going to place into that stone, you get to choose how you're going to use that stone, right? So it's all up to you. How long does it take to notice a difference? Pretty quick. So if you're just starting out and you're working with crystals, you're going to notice, I mean, really very quickly. I mean, I get almost dizzy sometimes. I'm kind of like right now, I have all my crystals here. I'm like, woo, which is why I've been holding on to my hematite, because I am very sensitive to crystal energy. You may or may not be, it's not good or bad either way. I'm just not naturally a grounded person. I'm naturally a little more kind of out there. And so for me, it's important to ground myself. And you might find that that's true with you too. And so you will find that out, but the more open you are to them, the quicker you're going to feel the impact of them, right? It's like belief. The more we believe that we can connect with our children, the quicker we're going to be able to do so, right? Because we're not going to have our nagging doubts and worries standing in our way. So you guys know how I feel about that. So crystal energy feels like it's pure. It's the purest form of love and energy, right? It's the purest form of healing, really, on the planet, in my opinion. So I think that that's what you'll feel. You can feel the different, some of them are good for energy. Some of them, as I say, are good for grounding. Some of them are good for healing the heart. Some of them are good for bringing financial success into your life. Some are good for relationships. So each crystal has its own kind of main purpose. So depending on what that purpose is will determine what that energy feels like to you, right? I tend to lean much more toward, I'm really into the pink crystals. This is pink tourmaline. I'm really into kind of the pink crystals. Like, look how gorgeous that is. You guys, I hope you think they're gorgeous. I'm just like, ooh, it's so pretty. This is how much I love crystals. So anyhow, you'll find what you resonate to. It may or may not be, the pinks, but that's kind of what I'm currently into. I'm going to show you all my favorites, which I guess I've been picking them up one by one. How to clean your crystals. This is very important. My favorite way, so I already told you that when you buy the crystal, you can bring them home. You can cleanse it by placing your intention on it. You can cleanse them by putting them in sea salt. You can cleanse them by putting them in sand. Or my favorite method is to place them in the moonlight. So wait for there to be a beautiful, clear, full moon night, and take your crystals. I just take my whole trays out because I have most of them in trays. Even my larger ones I have on a tray, and I just place them on the edge of my deck and let the moonlight, the beautiful moonlight. I love the moon. Do you guys love the moon? Oh my gosh, I love the moon. Like every time there's a full moon, I'm just like, I have to keep going outside and looking at it. And that's because the moon is so cleansing as well. And that's why it's my favorite tool to cleanse my crystals. So you can use any of those methods that I said. And then we already talked about that. So how do I choose a crystal? Here's the fun part. Sometimes if you go to the crystal store, you might find that you're just like, oh, which one should I buy? And a crystal just falls off the shelf. So yeah, you're probably supposed to buy that crystal. I think you've heard me tell the story of I was in a bookstore one time, or shortly after I got onto this journey, and I was just like, which book should I read? And like 3 books dropped to the floor. I kid you not. And I'm like, okay, so I'll buy those 3. Um, and then I taught my granddaughter can I tell you just a little side story? I'll try not to get too distracted. My 3 little granddaughters, I have 4 granddaughters, but 3 that live here. And since they were 2, they've been learning about crystals. They own crystals. I've given them crystals, and not the wisest choice, you guys, if they're under age 10. Okay. I've lost a lot of money by giving my grandkids crystals, but I take them to the crystal store. I've been taking them to the crystal store. We have 2 beautiful shops in Boise. And I just love going there. And they know how to. Well, we're going to the crystal store. Yay! Gana's going to buy us some crystals. Well, the youngest, who's now 6, but when she was like 4.5, we have a favorite shop in Boise. Earthlight Minerals is the name of the shop. And they have very high quality crystals in there. And this girl, they listen, right? These kids listen. And we're walking through, and she's like putting her hand, putting her hand over that little rack. And she's like, no, I don't feel the energy. No, I don't feel the energy. Which one's going to call out to me? And she's like 4. And the store manager and the other people in the store are like, oh my gosh, like, what is she doing? But kids love it. You can use your crystals with kids. Don't be afraid of that. They're safe for your children. They're safe for your pets, as I said before. So that's my favorite story of going to the crystal store with my grandkids. Okay, so I promised you, so you'll feel a pull to a certain crystal, or you're going to research it ahead of time. You're going to be like, oh, I need some crystals for help healing my digestion problems. And so you'll look up which crystals might be helpful for that, right? Or I want to know which crystals are going to help get me to that higher meditative state, and you'll research that. So sometimes you're seeking a specific crystal. Sometimes it's just intuition. You're walking through the store and you're like, oh, what is that? I have to have that. And that was the case with the pink tourmaline with me. I was like, what is that? I have to have that. That was one I didn't own. So, and a crystal like this, sometimes they can be expensive. I mean, I think this one was around $50, sometimes not. Usually like these little ones, like these the little tumbled sizes, they're like $3, $5. They're not expensive. You do want to make sure you're buying from a reputable source. I know here in Boise, we used to have a crystal show once a year, pre-COVID, right? Who knows if these things will ever come back? I hope so. But we had a crystal show once a year at the fairgrounds, and it was fantastic. And then we got some really good deals on some crystals at those shows. Obviously, buying them retail is a little more expensive. If you're an Etsy shopper, I love Etsy. My favorite crystal shop on Etsy is Rocks with Sass. Rocks with Sass. She has beautiful quality crystals, and she packages them so beautifully. So she's a good source to have as well. So Albert Einstein once said, everything in life is vibration. The vibrations, everything in life is vibration. So the vibrations that these energy crystals hold can realign and recalibrate your energy with theirs. That's the magic of crystals, right? They can recalibrate your energetic body with their energetics, right? How cool is that? I love that. So, yes, that's right. Thank you, Stephanie. Rocks with Sass. That's right. Okay, so anyhow, I just love that. Albert Einstein, what a man, huh? So let's see, what time are we at? No, it goes so fast, doesn't it? I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I wanted to show you a crystal wand. So this is one of the forms that you can buy a crystal. I have, I think, a couple of these. This is the larger of the 2. This is clear quartz crystal. If you buy nothing, buy clear quartz. And if you buy nothing, buy rose quartz, okay? This is probably one of the most powerful healing crystals known to man. And it's so simple, right? It's got a little bit of that kind of milky color to it. It's got, you can see the veins running through it. Isn't that beautiful? The wands are generally used. You could use this in your cleansing of a space, right? This would be used for that. If you don't want to actually place a crystal into the corners, you could use it for that purpose. I used it in Reiki. So you'll find a lot of healers using wands. Typically the layman user of a crystal isn't going to necessarily use a wand, but you could use it in your grids if if you're going to do a grid and you might have some smaller crystals around it. So lots of options there. So I wanted to show you some of my favorite crystals. I showed you the rose quartz. These are my current favorites. So the rose quartz has this beautiful pink hue. Is the pink showing through on that, you guys? It's so hard to get the right color, especially at nighttime. Anyhow, it's a beautiful pink color. And the rose quartz is not so much known for grief healing, although it's really about healing the heart. So if you have a rose crystal, you want to place it on your heart. If you are having a cry session, just, and you're laying down, just take your rose quartz and just place it on your heart and it will soothe you. I promise you, it will soothe you. This is bloodstone I mentioned. The bloodstone is rumored to be Christ's tears. That's what they call it, Christ's tears. Can you see the beautiful red color in that? So I think because of the blood color, right? That's how it got that nickname, Christ's tears. Honestly, this is just my favorite stone. I don't know what else to say about it. I just love it. It helps to boost circulation. It helps, so especially if you have like anemia issues, things like that, anything related to the blood, self-esteem and intuition. Okay, those are kind of the main things. In India, it's used as an aphrodisiac. So there's that. Get some bloodstone. Labradorite is also probably the most well-known stone for transformation. And look at the beautiful colors in that. It's almost a little bit translucent. I don't know if you guys can see, but labradorite is all about transformation, balancing the chakras, protecting the aura, and getting rid of depressive vibes. And this is all in the handout that I'm going to send you guys. Finding inner courage, very powerful stone. Speaking of chakras, I have this little chakra ring on here. There's lots of chakra jewelry out there, and it's really good stuff. So chakra jewelry, you can get a necklace. Actually, I have one. This is a ring that has each of the little chakras, like each stone representing one of the 7 chakras. And then I have this little, it's little, this one once upon a time had all the little stones on it, but it doesn't have all of them anymore. There's a lot of chakra. Yeah, there you go. Thanks, Joe. That's beautiful. A lot of chakra balancing. And if you wear a chakra balancing crystal of some form, it really is just kind of that overall grounding effect and balancing. It's going to balance, obviously. It's got all the crystals to balance all the chakras, which is so important for us, especially when we're grieving, right? So amethyst we talk about is the meditation to reach, or the tool to help you reach higher levels of consciousness and meditation. This is a raw one. I don't know if I have any, oh, I do. Let me show you really quick. This little, that's a amethyst as well. So I just leave this in my room where I meditate. It's not one that I hold as often. It's kind of just anchoring, right? I use it more as an anchoring amethyst. Pink tourmaline, which is my newest purchase, that for some reason, I don't know why, I fell in love with this stone. And then I came home and I read that it's for strength, for balancing the left and the right side of the brain. Because you guys, I'm like 60 something now and I'm having issues with, seriously. So I'm like, I think that's why I picked this stone, is because I really need kind of a little brain boost. And then also healthy digestive system. So any of us who have leaky gut, or, what is it, the IBS or whatever, and also increasing self-confidence. So that seems to be a theme. Numite is known as the sorcerer's stone. It is actually a deep, deep green color. I know it's showing up kind of blue, but look at that. Doesn't that look like a planet or a galaxy? It's so beautiful. When I look at it, it doesn't look that it's much denser than what you're looking at, because you're seeing the reflection, reflection of the light. but the Numite is considered to be the oldest stone of them all. So one of the first stone that was ever found. Very, very strong metaphysical properties with the Numite stone, and it's Nuumite. Could read up on it. A strong element of the magical and mystical vibration of the earth. So helps you attune yourself with deep earth energy and higher consciousness. So it will help you move your spiritual growth forward more rapidly. And then clear quartz, as I've said, probably one of my favorites as well. Powerful, powerful cleansing stone, very positive. This is good if you have migraines or vertigo. So those are two of the kind of physical uses of clear quartz. Moldavite, which we talked about. This little piece of crystal is so powerful, you guys. Can you see how you can kind of see right through it, right? Whoop. Let's see. Can you guys see that? Let's see. There we go. You can kind of see how it's, you can almost see right through it, right? This tiny little piece of it. It was a meteorite, humongous meteorite that it crashed into the Czechoslovakian mountain region 15 million, not thousands, 15 million years ago. And so more impact than an atomic explosion, they say. And so these little pieces were scattered everywhere. It's used for the light just shines right through it, which is so beautiful. It's used for expanding the aura and expanding your consciousness. Might help bring dreams if you're into like doing that kind of dream work. Transformation, protection, and help self-healing. And then rhodonite is another one of my pink stones that I'm in love with. Rhodonite this is again a kind of a raw cut. It's been lightly polished for the shine, but it's a raw cut of rhodonite. Rhodonite is really balancing after a major loss. So especially if you're new in your grief, rhodonite is also a very soothing and calming, wise choice. And it's for relieving heartache. So I have a list of I'll leave it in the packet because I want to leave time for questions, but there's kind of some relationships to the chakras. So I go through informatively which stones are good for healing or for protection, I mean. So that's all listed. Hematite, mahogany, obsidian, snowflake obsidian, smoky quartz. Those are good grounding. Apache tears it's hard to tell sometimes because the little like a little black stone, right? It could be one of so many things, but this has a really rough finish to it. It's not polished at all. Can you see that it's kind of bumpy? That's an Apache tear, and that's very good for grounding as well. So what do we use for grief? Is that what you'd like to know now? What do we use for grief? So the grief stones that I would tell you about today are pink Botswana agate. And this one doesn't have a ton of pink to it. Let's see if I can get the color in there without, there are pictures of some of these stones in the packet that you'll see. This is pink Botswana agate. Agate is generally a gray color. This one tends to take on more of a pinky hue to it, and it is very comforting, very protective, very soothing, really great for grief, and especially for people with a very sensitive heart. You would love the energy of the pink Botswana agate. Also, the aquamarine is the one that I was talking about earlier. This is a beautiful kind of an ocean green blue color. This is a very, very intense stone. Probably don't start with this stone, but if you're a little further in your journey and if you've been kind of exposed to crystals for a while, you could pick up your aquamarine. This little crystal will provide deep, deep, deep emotional clearing. So you might not be ready for the level of clearing that you get until you're a little more attuned to your crystals. But this really is all about compassion and unconditional love and deep clearing. Okay, so I do love that stone. And then lepidolite is this one, this kind of purple. Is the color showing through, you guys? Like, does that look more blue? This is a purple color. Is that a little bit better? This is called lepidolite. It's also very smoothing, like the rose quartz. They're almost kind of hand in hand for me when I need that kind of heart healing. Also, this is a good stone for relieving anxiety if you have anxiety attacks, okay, which I did very badly when in my first like year of grieving. I would go out and just have a major, like a panic attack. I'd have to get back to the house. So I wasn't carrying my lepidolite then. I should have been, and maybe I wouldn't have had such bad panic attacks. Obviously, rose quartz we talked about, and then garnet, which really garnet is a deep kind of red color. Garnet is really about balancing energy and connecting to your highest good, right? So it's going to keep you grounded. It's going to keep you balanced. It's going to make sure that you're on track with your highest good. And then the, excuse me, the malachite is, malachite, the only thing you have to be afraid of with the malachite, it is a copper ore. And so there's, I guess, possibilities of kind of toxic exposure. So, but if you wear it, if you wear a polished one, rather, it should be fine. You wouldn't be overexposing yourself at all. This is, again, a super, super powerful stone that will absorb negative energies. Okay, isn't that beautiful? I just keep saying like, oh, that's my favorite. That's, look at the different colors in that. So I do love malachite. Grounding stones we talked about, hematite, bloodstone, agate, Apache tears, black tourmaline, which is this, black tourmaline. Whoops, are we seeing that? Whoops, there we go, black tourmaline. Jet, which is also black, but jet, I don't have any jet. It's completely weightless. Like you would pick it up and it would feel like you were holding nothing. That's how you know that the black stone is jet. Jade, jasper, smoky quartz, and pyrite. So that's kind of the best grounding stones that I would recommend. And then in the packet is, and I do cite all the sources that I use to pull together all this information. I did not, you know, I created the manual, but I didn't write all the words. But I have the 45 most common stones with a picture of them and kind of the description of what they're for. So that you guys can get started on your crystal collection that way. So you might want to go through that. You might want to see kind of just what resonates you and what calls out to you in that. And then from there, go to Etsy, go to your local crystal store. But just like with essential oils, you know, you're not going to buy it from Walmart, you know, you're going to buy it from a quality source. And so just make sure with your crystals that you're doing that as well. So, any questions?
Gail did mention that she cleans her stones by running them underwater with candlelight and also sunlight.
Yes, thank you, Gail. I have heard of running them underwater. I don't know why I've never done that. It sounds so easy, right? So I just have never done that, but thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Joe,
I have a,
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Hang on, Joe. Go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, my best friend is a rock healer and has been for many years.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I have thousands of dollars worth of crystals over the years. Some I don't talk about with my husband on the price, but anyway, yeah, and that's one of the things because of her clients and having to clean her stones so often.
Yeah.
And there's certain clients that she'll have to use a healing stone on somebody, like that might be coming within a couple of hours. So she actually has candles on her table and she puts the crystals around and gets a cleansing from that.
Oh.
Or running them underwater, obviously not real aggressively.
Yeah.
And the sunshine, you got to be careful. Like I know with amethyst, I have a big geode, and eventually over time it'll start to fade in the sun. So you wouldn't want to put it in direct sunlight.
Yeah.
But like you said, with the moon on your deck,
Yeah.
same thing. If you're sitting out on your deck on a nice sunny day for, you know, an hour or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Thank you for that. Yeah. I didn't know about the candlelight either. I didn't know that.
Because she's a healer, a lot of the stones draw.
Yeah.
And, you know, like different, well, cancers and things too.
Yes.
It's pretty amazing. And so she has to keep her stones clean all the time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she has gazillions,
Yeah,
but I
I
mean,
saw a crystal healer here for about a year, a little further along in my journey when I was already, attuned to crystals, but he had a website, crystalhawk.net, but I don't think he's in business anymore. But he would, fully clothed, of course, but he would lay the crystals on my body and
Yeah.
I like my eyes would be closed and he would lay a crystal down and he would say, what color is this stone? Or he would say, what is this stone? Or how does this stone make you feel? And I would say how that stone makes me feel. And he'd be like, that's exactly what that stone is supposed to make
right.
you feel. So that's what I'm talking about when I mean that kind of
Yes.
intuitive connection to the stone. If
Yes.
you are meant to know crystals, you will know
Yes.
crystals. Like you'll be out buying them tomorrow if you guys are resonating with this.
And that's what I wanted to say too. Like, she has one room with all her crystals, and when she starts her healing on anybody, when
Yeah.
she's first introducing them, you walk in and she's got bowls and bowls,
Oh,
and you pick the stones. And trust me, they do pick you,
yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then she uses those particular ones that you've picked to heal and places them on your body or under the table or whatever. Yeah. So
That's
yeah,
beautiful.
don't be afraid. Like, go somewhere where they have some crystals. Like Paige said, you don't have to have a big giant piece. A little piece is fine, but just absorb them, take it all in, and let them pick you, because they will. They're magical for sure.
They are magical. Thank you for sharing all that. I
You're
love that.
welcome.
Joe, you had something?
I just wanted to ask, this beautiful necklace that I'm holding up, this chakra balancing necklace, I can't wear it. And I'm wondering why that might be, if anybody's got any ideas. When I put it on, I kind of go into a bit of a gaga, and I'm not sure why that is.
Well, I mean, it could be why my smoky crystals just about put me under today. I had to, I just had to take them off about 3 o'clock today. I'm like, I just can't wear these one more second. Sometimes, and I know the lady that I buy crystals from here, she can't wear clear quartz. Same thing. She is so out there when she wears clear quartz. So it's my guess, and I'd love to hear from somebody else who knows, crystals. My guess is there's one or more of them that are just too high intensity for you right now. And that might not be the case, in a month or 6 months. But you might process of elimination, like the elimination diet, you might test each one individually and then see which one is the culprit,
Okay.
It's a beautiful necklace. I love
It
that.
is.
Is that a necklace or a wrap bracelet?
It's a necklace.
Yeah, I love it.
It's a
Yeah.
necklace. I do too, and I've tried it probably several times over 18 months to wear
Does
it. And
anybody else have anything to say about that? Feel free to pipe up.
I would agree. There's something in it
Yeah.
that is throwing her balance off a bit. But yeah, have you cleaned it at all?
I have.
Because sometimes they pick up the energy properties from somebody else, like wherever it came from.
Right.
So
have.
I would make sure I fully cleansed it too, right?
Yeah, that's why we cleanse them when we buy them. Like I actually haven't even cleaned my pink tourmaline yet. I just bought it today.
Yes, very
So,
important.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, I did try. I have cleansed it. But thank you.
I would really I'm curious. I would do the process of elimination and find out which one it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody, who else has a question? Steph, is there questions in the chat room or just comments?
That was basically it. Danielle was saying she uses a golden healer. I have never heard of that.
I haven't either. What's a golden healer? Where are you, Danielle? There you are. And then I see Candy has some questions too.
A golden healer is another form of a stone. It's kind of a brownish one. It's beautiful. And I probably have maybe 10 of those because they're my absolute favorite. And I don't think I have one on my nightstand. Most of them are.
Quotes. Okay.
Yeah, golden healer. Yeah. And I have them in the sphere and the towers and just the tumblers and just all forms, because when I work with people with the oils, I just like to have them all around, the golden healer, because it's one of the main ones for healing. And it's just, it's my absolute favorite.
So I just looked it up. It is a clear quartz with the yellow hues to it. Just, there's many different, like the smoky quartz has the kind of beautiful brown hues to it. And it does say facilitates spiritual communication over long distance, including between the worlds, and empowers multidimensional healing. There you go. It's exactly right. Thank you for sharing that one. Now I'm going to get one. Golden healer. I like it. It is said to access Christ consciousness and to balance yin yang energies. Very interesting.
And then Candy has some questions.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Candy.
Hi. Yeah, I'm new to this, and I'm going to end up like Gail. I already can tell.
Yeah.
I'm already obsessed. I've like taken so many notes. But so I do have a couple questions for you, Paige. Thank you for this too. This is so cool. My pendulum. I do have a pendulum, and it's a amethyst. Can that also be used in a healing sense, or is that just strictly for the pendulum?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, well, a crystal
do
is a crystal. I think, in my opinion, a crystal is a crystal. And do you mean like this? I also have an amethyst pendulum,
Yeah.
and I also have a clear quartz or rose quartz pendulum. So I have a couple of them. So thank you for saying that. We are going to do a pendulum class one of these days because people have been asking for that. Anyhow, Gail, you want to pipe in on this, but my feeling is a crystal is always a crystal, and the crystal it does not lose its energy. So the crystal is going to carry its innate energy, its God-given energy, no matter what form it's in, if it's a necklace, if it's a pendulum, if it's a polished tumbled stone versus a rough cut stone, right? So yes. And
Absolutely.
a lot of people use amethyst in a pendulum because amethyst is most well known for that third eye, actually more crown connection to the higher realms. So yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Can I ask another question? Okay. Somebody gifted me a little pouch that has these chakra stones in it. And it has a stone for each chakra. And I was curious, I don't know how to use it. It was a present, but I don't know what to do with them. But I know one thing is that I attended a sound healing session yesterday, and my second chakra was absolutely insane. So I know I have a stone for that, and I was wondering how to use that. That's kind of a loaded question.
Well, so I think that I think part of my document did address, and let me pull it up so I can address it more for sure. So second chakra stones that are particularly associated with healing with the second chakra: amber, carnelian, mookaite, orange calcite, which I do have, and red tiger's eye. So I don't know if you have one of those, but those were kind of on my list.
This is red jasper.
Yep. So there you go. Red jasper. Well, close anyway to the red tiger's eye. I have red jasper under a different category. Anyhow, to answer your question, what you could do is you could put them in a bag and you could carry them around with you. And that way you've got all of kind of the balance of the chakras. I would use those in meditation. That's what I would do. I would do a chakra cleansing meditation. I would place each stone on my chakra point on my body. And that's what I would use it for. Gail, what would you use it for?
Absolutely. Exactly what you just said. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh, lucky girl. Lucky girl. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
very lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for helping me learn how to use it.
Oh, you're welcome. See, once you get the bug, we don't talk about these things to our husbands, no, or our wives if we have any men on the call. We did have a man on the call. Where'd you go, Jason? Anyhow.
I went to a crystal show, and my husband still doesn't know this.
Yeah.
And I won't mention the amount of money I spent, but as I was loading them out of my car and he happened to come into the room, I said, honey, it's your birthday next week. Happy birthday.
That's, yeah, like,
From one of my geodes, right?
Yeah.
Because
that's awesome.
and he goes, "And how
That's
much
like the
did
old
you
saying
pay
of,
for
oh,
that rock?"
yeah, right.
I said, "Oh no, honey, it's a gift. It's a gift."
Or, honey, I've had that for years. How could you just have noticed it? That's my
I
favorite.
could have got it in
But-
the house and placed it first.
I got so lucky one time. I somehow ran across this gentleman. I think somebody told me about him. He was selling his collection, and that's how I got my amethyst geode. And it was like I felt like I was doing a drug deal. I met him I would only meet him at a public location, so we met like at you know, Arby's or whatever in the parking lot. And, you know, he had the hood is the back of his car, the trunk of his car up, and I pulled up, and, you know, I mean, it was all perfectly safe, but it was very strange, but I got a lot of really amazing crystals at a pretty discounted price. So anyhow,
If people
Candy?
don't know exactly where to get them, like I didn't know we had stores in Boise, but about a year ago when I started getting into them, I found a lady on Instagram, and her name is The Essential Hippie, and she does live shows at least once a week, but sometimes twice a week. So
Oh,
if you
cool.
follow her, it'll tell you when she goes live, and she has her whole room, you know, decked out, and she'll scan. So if something, you know, jumps out at you, but then for the whole 2 hours she'll just talk about each one, or she'll have, you know, 8 different rose quartz, and she'll hold them up, and they have codes on the back, so you type in which one you want. And
Oh,
then like your gal packages them, they just come packaged so beautiful with extra little
yeah.
treats and little freebies. So if anybody's looking for someone to follow, I think she's in North Carolina, but it's The Essential
And
Hippie.
The Essential Hippie. I will follow her. That's beautiful. That's why I like Rocks with Sass too. She comes in this beautiful box. Everything's like wrapped in beautiful cloth. And then she has these cards, a card for each crystal. And they have a picture of the crystal. So you can't forget, you know, which one was that in the collection. So anyhow, yeah, thank you. It's good to have another resource. That's the trend these days. They're like fashion shows. All of these things are done live on Instagram. The world is changing. There's Earthlight Minerals in Boise, and Stewart's Gem Shop is another one in Boise. So
Melissa had a question. Melissa?
Yes. Okay. So a few years ago, I went through this little kick and I bought all these crystals, and I have no clue what they are. So do I need to get that encyclopedia book to be able to figure it out?
it will help you with most of them. Some of them, like I've got 8 or so that they're little, and sometimes you can't tell. A lot of them look a lot alike. For instance, this is blue calcite, and this is blue lace agate. I mean, they're very kind of similar, and it's hard to tell the difference sometimes. So that's why I write down and I try to keep track of what everything is. So you can buy, this is probably, to my knowledge, the best encyclopedia. Gail might know of a better one. Better yet, I would just take those stones if you know of a crystal healer, or if you have a store in your area, and they'll tell you.
They
You
will.
don't have
Not where I live.
Are you sure? Tennessee's,
Well, I live in
Not
very
completely in the
rural
back.
Tennessee.
well,
Now,
anyhow, so
Like this one, does this look, if you can see it, does that look like clear quartz?
it looks
'Cause, see,
like
I have
Yes,
selenite.
it looks like
No.
a quartz.
Oh, I
I
think
have-
it looks like selenite, because to me,
Okay.
selenite, you correct me, Gail, because I don't know everything, but selenite is this really milkier.
More milky. Yes, that's
It's
correct.
much milkier. It's
That's
not
correct.
most of, like, I have so much clear quartz, and you can
Yeah.
almost see, you can always
Yes,
kind of
see through
see
it,
through
yeah.
it. The selenite, which is also a good stone for like mental clarity, is I don't know how to say it other than that milky, and it looked like the stone you held up perhaps
Well,
had
I
that.
think that's what this one is. But remember I asked you one night we were doing something and I had this one. It's real soft.
Yes,
I think that
Yes.
must be the
Yes.
Is that
And
selenite?
I think it is selenite, and look how
Yes.
it's
Does
got
it
that
have like
blue.
lines through it?
Yes.
Can you see kind of lines through it?
Mine
Through
does.
Yeah,
Through
that's
this
what it
one,
is. That's
This one
exactly
does.
what it is.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
now this one is a little bit more clear. It's hard to see on here. And it's still milky, but it's got like more specks in it. So I'm
And
not
sometimes
sure.
quartz will have specks in it, or a little bit of a Milky Way in it. So it's hard to see on the screen, but
I know.
they're
Like, I think-
definitely different.
I
Yeah.
think this is quartz, and this is completely
Yes,
clear, but
absolutely.
it's got little specks. It's almost got
That's
like,
right.
it's almost like you can see inside somebody's body and
Right.
see like their little organs or something floating around in there.
Mhm.
So it's so hard to tell online, but I would get this book. It's really a fabulous book. And like a couple of mine last night, I was going through and I was like, oh, that's what that is. Like, I bet Gail could tell me right now what
It
this
was only
one
like
is.
$14 on Amazon.
Yeah, they're not very, and it's really a great, this is green. It has some kind of red in it, but it's not bloodstone. I don't know what it is.
See, and to me, I'm seeing like gray and black.
I know. It's hard to tell on the
It
computer.
is. It is online. Yes, definitely.
Tiger's Eye is another good one. Smoky Quartz.
Yes.
I've told you about all my favorites. Jasper, all the different Jaspers are great. You know, I have so much rose quartz, it's not even funny. So yeah, there's just many, many, many. I don't have as many of the yellows, but I have some. So I can try to help you later, Melissa, if you want, and we can try to look them up. Okay.
I'm gonna definitely order the book, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna try to be better about labeling them when I get them.
Well, until you get to know them, right? And then you'll learn your favorites and you won't need to label them anymore, but it's a great way to get started. And I don't know if I can show you this little, like, I have these little trays that it's like, they're like jewelry trays. And so see how they're compartmentalized?
Mhm.
So I have like 5 of those laying around and they're all full of, you know, crystals, but nothing like what Gail has, but that's all right. It's my own. little
I'll show you
collection.
my collection sometime.
I'd love to see it in person.
Actually, I didn't know that this was about crystals until you sent me the link, and then I was like, whoa.
Oh,
Yeah.
Joe's got to leave. Bye, Joe. So we are over an hour. I apologize to everybody. Are there any more questions?
Candy wanted to know what was good for weight gain, and Jamie wants to know what is it Kieranite is used for.
Let's see if I don't. Do you know? I can't answer either. Kieranite?
Yes.
Kyanite. It's kyanite.
Oh, kyanite. Let me look up kyanite for you. Do you know about the weight gain? Because I've never used it for that.
No, I'm not
Gail?
sure.
No, I don't actually. I read the question and I was like, that's
So
interesting.
kyanite is one of the purple stones, and is it Chris? I don't know if it's crystalline kyanite or regular kyanite. Attunement and meditation, a powerful transmitter and amplifier of high frequency energies. So
Yeah,
that's
good.
kyanite. So it
Meditating
sounds like
rock.
it'd be another good one for meditation.
Yeah.
Also can assist with dream recall, just like the other one that I mentioned was good for dreams. Kyanite points to your true identity and a fulfilling vocation. So do you
Thank
own
you.
the kyanite?
Well, I got this weekend. Ironically, it called to me.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you can see. Wait, let me try and turn this light.
Oh, that's better. Yeah.
It's really blue and white, milky,
Oh,
and it's Kyanite.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
Kyanite. Yeah.
And it's got
I think I
that,
have one of those too.
it has
It's
that rough
it's blue and
core to
white.
it.
It kind of looks like the ocean.
Yeah,
And
it's
it was the
beautiful.
very first stone I saw when I walked in the store. It called to me at like when I walked in. It's the first thing I saw, and ironically, it's kyanite, and my son is Kyle, so it's pretty crazy.
Isn't
That's
that
awesome.
Yeah, I love how the intuition comes into play. Really, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. So,
Thank you.
yeah, the one I'm looking at actually looks almost brown. So I think it just there's always different color
Probably
variations
different.
to
This was
stones.
from. It says it's from Brazil.
Yeah, it says here that it's can be found in USA, Brazil, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, or India. So you got one of the
Yes, I don't
Brazilian.
know, but
Yeah,
this one's very blue. But I bet you, like any stone, it's
Beautiful.
probably all
yeah.
different colors.
I don't know about weight gain. I'm sorry. We'd have to Google that and see. So
That's okay. Thank you for asking it. Any of the ones on grief are probably, it's all related to the grief. So
yeah,
for
that's
any of
true.
those, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. Any other questions? You guys have been great. Thanks for letting me tell you. I have such a passion for crystals. If you can't tell, very passionate about it because they've really helped me a lot on my healing journey. They've been a big part of my kind of my learning how to expand my consciousness, and crystals will do that for you. Hands
Awesome.
down, they will do that for you. So I encourage you, if you're motivated, to get started.
Mhm.
So
Thanks so much, Paige.
you're welcome. So this group is currently meeting weekly. I'll have to call on all of you to help me with that, but I haven't decided what next week's topic will be. Sometimes we have a group presentation like this, where it's an actual, presentation to the group. Sometimes we're going to do more kind of open conversation like, this group has done in the past. For 2 months, we did connecting meditations with our loved ones. I think it's about time to do that again, don't you guys? We haven't done it since the
Definitely.
end of December. So I
That
think
was
it's
great.
time that we do that again. So sometimes we're going to, hi Barb, I didn't see you over there. Sometimes we're going to do this kind of bigger presentation, but not always, because, it takes a lot of that takes energy too. So anyhow, we'll just see, but we'd love to have you all back as much as you can come back. And it's so nice to see so many new faces. I can't thank you enough. Namaste to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah, you're
Thank you.
welcome.
so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Gail has your hand raised.
Yeah, I just was curious, will you be using the same Zoom number?
Yes.
I don't know
same
why I
Zoom.
had such a hard time finding it tonight, but it was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Same
great.
Zoom same Zoom every week. It is my personal Zoom, so I think if we ever get over 100, I'll probably have to switch to Elizabeth's. But because even the next level up from mine is only 100, so I can't believe everything's expensive. But it is the
It
same
is,
every
yeah.
week, and if you guys would go in and join that group, if you haven't already, Helping Parents Heal Spiritual Tools for Grief Healing. So thank you. Really glad to have
Thank you.
Thank you
Mhm.
so much.
Welcome.
Really
Have
appreciate
a
it.
good night, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you so
welcome.
much, Paige.
Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Good night.
Good night.
Paige. Good
It
night.
Be
reminded,
safe. Be safe.
yeah, it really reminded me, Paige, that I do have all the tools, but I forgot how to use them. You know what I mean?
Right. Hang on a second. Let me end the recording.